Who's ready for Season 2 of the Netflix German mystery thriller Biohackers? It's got some sci-fi mixed with drama and intrigue, but is it good to binge? After being abducted, Mia finds herself with no recollection of what has happened since. But when she discovers a message she has written to her future self, she comes to understand that her life is in imminent danger if she doesn't solve the mystery of her disappearance. In order to do so, she has to team up with the woman she trusts the least, Professor Lorenz. Season 2 picks up with Mia in a state of confusion. We're shown in the trailer that she's experiencing missing time, and obviously that's throwing her for quite the loop. When we last saw her, she was kidnapped and tossed in the back of a van with Professor Lorenz, who had also been kidnapped. This season, we watch new and unexpected alliances form as Mia tries to figure out why she can't remember certain things and who was responsible for doing it to her. The main players return with Jasper, Lotta, Chenlu, Ole, Nicholas, and obviously Mia and Lorenz. The effects and camera work that's utilized in this season is really good, and it works well to help us know what Mia is experiencing when she has these crazy physiological episodes. We hear the high-pitched tones and fuzzy focus of the camera as her hearing goes in and out and she experiences extreme dizziness. The drama is also high to keep the suspense at a good level. Because of something that's going on with Mia, there's also a built-in urgency to the story. This keeps the chase for knowledge and understanding at the forefront and cranks up the anxiety through each episode. There's still some humor that comes into play, especially thanks to Ole and Chenlu, but for the majority of the show, it's still pretty serious and dramatic. I really like the discombobulating effect Mia's condition has on the story and then on us. Even though she is a trusted character, she becomes a very unreliable narrator just due to the fact that she has missing time and can't really reconcile all of her actions. With the prospect of an unreliable narrator, the story has the opportunity to really play with scenarios because we can't tell if they're real or not. And the story also doesn't have to fully show us all the context of every single action, which allows it to go a bit crazy and then only address certain portions later on that actually pertain to the narrative. There are some story points that I felt were predictable, but not so much that they took me out of the story. It was more the fact that I'd be betting a character was going to do something or a reveal about something was going to come, and then it would. So I just wasn't surprised as much during certain points. No biggie. I feel that way especially because there were a few times that I legitimately didn't see something coming and was really shocked because I had been focused over here so intently that the show then snuck in something over here and was like, boo, here you go. Hey, that was fun. This season felt like it had a more focused storyline too. And maybe that's because it doesn't have to spend time introducing us and building out characters. The majority of the players are already established, so we get to become immersed in what they're doing rather than trying to learn who they are. Now, there are still surprises that come from the characters, but on the whole, the story can focus on the mystery of what did happen to Mia and what is currently causing her issues. That mystery and search is really interesting, but there were some offshoots that felt like they became a bit abandoned and forgotten once something was revealed. And maybe that's just natural, but it became noticeable. I think as the season started to wrap up, some of the events became a little convenient in order to get to resolutions. But in a way, they also felt a little at home because the pace began to get faster and faster as the story reached the climax. I think the very end is also meant to be kind of mysterious, but there are some lines of dialogue earlier in the season that clearly answer who would be responsible for the specific act. So for me, because I was into the first season, I enjoyed the continuation of the mystery with characters that I had begun to connect with. And while I really liked how the story put an urgency to the actions, which then considerably upped the suspense, I'm not sure this is one of those must-watch shows that you need to drop everything to begin binging. The characters are fairly charismatic and their quirks work well, especially with the chemistry between the players. Mia is mostly sympathetic, but there's enough sketchiness to her to keep her interesting. The mystery is fun, and I was engaged in Mia's search to find out what happened to her and why she was experiencing the symptoms that she was. There's sex, maybe some brief nudity, a bunch of profanity, and a lot of violence. I give Season 2 of Biohackers 3.5 out of 5 couches. So are you a fan of the show? Who do you root for? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.